Hey, I want to welcome everybody to the show. It's good to have you guys here. Heading to the studio on a Sunday morning. This is about the extent of my... I just drove to work. Yeah, my studio is very Nashville style in the back. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for... This is our first episode. It's kind of exciting. And, yeah, let's see what... The studio is kind of thrashed because we're tracking guitars, and this dude brought his Axe effects, and then I've got my amps and my Kemper. So there's kind of cables everywhere. Oh yeah, let me switch the frame right here too. Yeah, there you go. Right. It's better to film without the monitor on. So anyway, there you go. Yeah, but we got like Axe effects out and amps up and Kempers. So big day of tracking guitars. Anyway, really seriously, thanks for coming, and let's get this party started. Episode 1, Ask James. So, the question is, how to get clients when you are new in the music business. So, first thing I think the first thing you got to do is just figure out what it is you want to do. And if you can, find your specialty. And you may not have a specialty at first. You may just be some guy that gets out of school and can run a Pro Tools rig, or you may be a kid that just got out of Belmont and can play guitar and wants to do sessions or wants to tour, or you may be, just your garden variety vocal coach. No specialty. If you can find a specialty, that always helps. So for me, I've always kind of been known as the rock guy. I was also one of the first guys to teach people how to scream in the 90s in LA. Prior to me, it was like Elizabeth Sabine was really the only one. I think I've really been doing this even before Melissa Cross, who's really known for the screaming thing. Oh, that's good. Fatty coffee helps me extend my fast. But see if you can find your specialty. And I think that first of all will start to help to define you. The next step is, now when I started this was about running ads and Music Connection and flyering. It's a different world now. It's about Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And the more you can learn how to leverage these things and find a balance, like for me, I toggle, I put a lot of personal stuff on there. That's just me. I'm trying to start to kind of find a balance. By nature, I'm a very transparent person. So you kind of get what you get. So I've been trying to figure out the balance between being professional and then also personal. Because for me, when I see people on the internet, like on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and all they talk about is work, and it's all hustling their business and hustling what they sell and marketing stuff, I get personally tired of it. I think that you got to strike a balance. That's just for me. Now, there's a lot of people that are very successful at this, and that's all they do is just pimp. But most people kind of blend it. So I would say start to learn how to leverage these social media outlets, because back in the day when I started vocal coaching heavily in the late 90s in LA, I ran an ad every issue for 7 years in Music Connection. Like everybody knew me from Music Connection, but those were $110 a week. So, or was it every other week? Whatever it was like $110 an issue, and I had like a little 16th page ad. Very effective, but it costs some money. So nowadays it's free and it's cheap and it's easy. It just takes time. So anyway, learn how to leverage these things. Do your research. YouTube is a great thing. You can put on YouTube how to promote my business on Instagram, and there'll be 15,000 videos, and you spend an evening and you watch a bunch of them. You get a bunch of ideas, and you might find stuff that, like, yeah, in theory this is very effective, but it's not my thing, and you let it go and you kind of find what works for you. But again, leveraging Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube are kind of there's no there's no way to measure their value. It's that good. Now, a lot of people do Twitter and Snapchat and other things. I'm not really into that. I did Twitter for like 20 minutes, and it wasn't my thing. And Snapchat seemed like, I don't know, like pictures of people putting like rabbit ears on their head. Like, it's just not for me. But that's not to say that that's not good. I think that that's probably better. I think Snapchat seems to be more for younger people. But anyway, so that's a great idea right there. So first of all, find your specialty and leverage this online presence thing. It really is amazing. For me, always have business cards on you. And I know business cards are kind of kind of old school, but they still are effective when you meet people because it ties into the next thing, which is you have to get out. You have to get out. You have to meet people. You have to start to build some relationships. Like I always thought in LA, people would always be like, oh, it's all about connections. It's not. Because in LA, everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows somebody at Sony or Warner Brothers or BMG. It's not about connections. People that talk about I got connections, that's not happening. It's about relationships. It's about building relationships with people in the industry that do what you do. And sometimes it's building relationships with people in the industry that can help you. And sometimes it's building relationships with people in the industry that you can help. It goes back and forth. It's like sometimes getting an intern or helping somebody out or bringing a drummer that's new into town on a record, shooting video, getting people to know who he is. And then it's also getting to know the guy at Curb Records or whatever. And it goes back and forth. Don't be selfish about this. Don't just make this about you, and don't just make this about your money and your studio and your world, because I think that I know from my experience in LA and now in Nashville, which to me, Nashville is no different than LA. It's really not. It's the same type of people. There is no shortage of self-obsessed people that want to talk about themselves in the music business. You see it out here in Nashville with the songwriters. They're always telling you about their thing, and it's always them and them and them. And to me, the successful ones care about the other person too, and it's not just about them. So when you get out there and you start to meet people, like genuinely engage in conversation. Don't just be pimping. It's I did A&R for a while in LA, and you get bombarded head first with people constantly telling you about how great they are, how successful they are, how this they are, how that they are. And then they're like, yeah, but I have no fans, I have no record, I have no money. It's like, well, I'm just going to leave that as that. We're not going to expound on that. Maybe that's for another video. But you get what I'm saying. When you go out, see bands and genuinely check them out and say, yeah, that was great, man. Drummer was cool, man. I really like the songs and that third tune and what'd you do there? And and what kind of weird is that a weird tuning on that guitar? I really like that. And what kind, I have an SG like that. What pickups do you have? I have in mine. I have these Duncans. You should try them out. And also sometimes a little constructive criticism. Just to be legit. If a lot of times I meet singers and they want me to come see their show and they're like, how did I do? And I'll be like, oh, it sounded great and everything. And I'll be like, yeah. And I think that really, if you just rifle in that pitch just a little bit more, or just, work on that top end just a little bit more and make it even better. So while you're giving them something constructive, you're also letting them save face. You're not just coming down on them. Like my buddy Brian Yaskulka, a great producer in LA, once told me, he says, James, when you're tracking a vocalist, never tell them they're flat. Always tell them it feels a little under. So anyway, but this ties into you got to get out there. You got to start meeting people. You got to start seeing bands. You got to start seeing songwriters. You got to go meet other producers. You got to meet musicians. You got to get out and go to industry mixers are great too. If ASCAP or BMI has something, or the Songwriters Guild, or there's industry mixers going on, especially obviously if you're in LA, Nashville, or New York. I mean, this is where this is all going on. If you're in a satellite town, get involved in what is, like in Raleigh. When I lived in Raleigh for a short time, the Nashville Songwriters Association, NSAI International, whatever it is, the Nashville, they had their Raleigh sect, or their Raleigh, branch, and like every month or two they met at Sam Ash right there on Capitol. And get out there, you know what I mean, and start to meet people and go to the music stores and go to the clubs and just and have business cards with you. And on your business cards, have everything. Have your Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, your website. The other thing too is, if you're not going to have a website, then obviously build out some nice, well, either way, you should build out your social media, which is kind of like getting yourself on. The big one is SoundCloud and Reverb Nation. Some people are also Bandcamp. I have a Reverb Nation and SoundCloud. I would just suggest get them all. And get it out there, man, and make sure you have a nice profile with current pictures and kind of where you're at with everything, and updated mixes you've done, or tracks you've done, or songs you've written, or whatever it is you've done, stuff you've sang on or played guitar on or edited or tracked or whatever. The other thing that's great is Craigslist. It's free. All this stuff really is free. I mean, all you got to do is buy some $20 business cards. I mean, everything else is free. Craigslist, you can get a Craigslist account and start running, weekly ads, engineer looking to mix, hip hop, or, vocal coach looking for, students, or whatever it is. Yeah. And, I can get more in depth with this if anybody wants to talk. You guys can contact me. My email is james@jameslugo.com, or you can just message me here. I don't know. There was something else. Oh, yeah. I'll do like the Obese to Beast kid does. Oh, there's something else. Oh, yeah. Look how buff I am. What else? Yeah, just get yourself out there, man. Be present, and also reply to people. And this is something that I've been good at, and I've struggled at. I go through phases where I can't deal with people messaging me on YouTube. I'm busy, I've got a lot going on, or I'm in a funk or whatever. But try to comment to things and reply to messages, because it shows that you care, and it's actually just the right thing to do. You care about somebody else, and I think that, yeah. And I mean, I'm going to leave this out with my personal thing. And this may or may not be for everybody. It may or may not bode with people's belief systems. But I've seen the law of attraction work in my life on an epic level. And when my head's in the right place, and when I'm feeling the feelings of success, and I'm visualizing getting the new record, or I'm visualizing something and seeing it in my mind's eye and feeling the feelings of already having it, it manifests. So that's just for me. A great thing is on Audible. You can get Audible. It's like books on tape or whatever, and you just listen to them. I got a book that I have on my Audible on my phone, and I listen to it a lot. It's called Think and Grow Rich. It's by Napoleon Hill. I won't get into who he is. You guys can research him. He's from like the 20s. He's an amazing guy. And it's an amazing book, Think and Grow Rich. He's also got like a 2-hour YouTube kind of, it's all these interviews from some BBC thing. If you just YouTube it, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, it'll pop up as one of the top 1 or 2 or 3. And it's him, it's black and white, and he's got gray hair, and he's an older businessman. He looks like, like a Wall Street guy from the 20s. And he talks like people from that era. But I'm telling you, the dude knew what he was talking about. And if you research him and do your homework, you'll see what I mean. This guy spent years interviewing every Fortune 500 guy in the world. Everybody from Edison to Roosevelt down the line. He interviewed them about what was their key to their success. And this book is all about what was common in each one of them. And each one of them had certain things that they did. You know, for me, I love following people like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Michael Jordan and you know, just people that are just massively successful. And you see that there's patterns to it. So anyway, that's it. I'm really glad you guys are here. This is episode 1. I'm not 100% sure how this looks. I've got everything on. Hopefully it's all in focus. I didn't set up the screen over here to check it because I got clients coming in like 20 minutes, so I got to put the boogie in the butt, as Eddie Murphy once said. But I'm really grateful that you guys are here. I hope you guys, I pray for everybody to have the most success that they can have and to use that success for good things and to help people and help yourself and spread the good word that there's hope and that the music business is there's hope. So anyway, I'm James Lugo. This is James Lugo Music here, signing off from Nashville. Like and subscribe and comment and let me know if you want to ask a question. We'll answer it on episode 2 of Ask James. Or like Alfalfa did. That was how I used to get vibrato on the Little Rascals.
Now, James, tell us about Vocal Asylum.
It's for singers get in and they can't get out.
Okay.